leave it on.
Yeah.
And happy birthday to you.
Yeah.
And we are pleased to have you here. And my question is regarding the national education policy, which has got too many critics and so many critical problems also. Your comments on that?
No, national education policy, what problems you said?
There are two versions. The present government they do not want the previous education policy introduced in the state for the children.
I'll tell you one thing. At my age, I don't want to get into any controversy. National education policy, which was, that committee was chaired by my friend Dr. Kasturarangan, is an eminent scientist. It had people like Dr. Manjul Bhargav, with a Fields Medal winner. They are excellent people, and I am not totally familiar with it, so I am totally unfit to comment on that.
Good morning, sir. Saurav here. See, you said a very good thing that, empowering the minds, actually bringing out this education policy, sea change. I'm associated with Gopalan Foundation, and we have started a lab, it's a robotics lab, tinkering lab. And we have found out at the grade 5 we have started this so that we can start building up the pedagogy, because students need to be trained in that way so that they can take up this AI, chatbot, all these things. These are all small tools, but enormous capacity. So what about this thing? Even ICC board has already started robotics and artificial intelligence, CBC, all other boards. But don't we need to incorporate this? Already there is a NEP, National Education Policies there, right, in place. So do we need to incorporate all these things into modern learning? Because the learning that we give to the present students, how much effective are they? Don't we need to change this?
Thank you. This answer may take a little bit of time, but it may be worth it. I don't know if you have read Richard Feynman's Surely You're Joking, Mr. Feynman. He gives the example of the top ranking student in Brazil. This is Brazil, not India. Feynman, there was some examination or something. Feynman asked the dean, "Can I sit there? Is it okay?" He said, "Sure, sit." And everyone, state this equation, or very extremely bookish questions and bookish answers. Then this boy answers one of the complicated questions in advanced physics very well. It was purely one of equation or something. Feynman poses a problem which required the use of those equations, and the student could not answer. This is in his book. I am not inventing it. It's in his book. So then Feynman says, the tragedy of most developing countries is we have converted higher learning to rote learning. We do not relate what they learn in the class to the world outside. Let me give you a simple example of my own granddaughter. She is 8 years or something, and she lives in London. And one day, she came to me with a very interesting problem. She said, there are 3 houses, almost in a triangular fashion. There is whatever Peter, there is whatever Sheila, there is Paul, boys of whatever it is, one in each of the 3 houses. They have a torch, and then she said, Peter switches on his torch once in 4 minutes, then Sheila switches on her torch once in 6 minutes, and then there's other guy, Paul or whatever it is, switches on the torch once in 8 minutes or something. Then she asked me a question. When do you think all of them, all the three lights will be on together? It's a basic LCM problem. I'm sure you understood that, right? It's a simple application of LCM. That's not how we teach our children. We teach our children LCM means, divide this, until it becomes one, whatever, this multiplied by this, multiplied by this. That has no value. The value is in applying those principles to solve real life problems. Until our education system gets transformed, I don't think we will be able to add much value to it. Of course, our IIT, they're very bright people, there is no doubt they're as good as any, but many of them, they go abroad. A few that remain here, they get defeated by the environment here. So therefore, that's why I suggested that our historians and our sociologists must do a deep study on what is it that is inhibiting us Indians to obtain our rightful place in engineering and science. And what are the steps that we need to do? What are the steps government needs to do? What are the steps parents need to do? What are the steps that institutions need to do? Unless we openly, I had no hesitation saying I'm hard of hearing, because that's the reality. Even if I don't say, you will come find out in 2 minutes. That. So I said, instead of you finding out and then I don't know what this fellow, either his mind was not okay or he couldn't hear, one of the two. So maybe he should not be invited next time. I said, it's better that I openly say what my problem is. Then we're all, you will know, okay, this today maybe he had not brought a hearing aid or something like that, you will know. So the point I'm saying is, the biggest transformation of Indian culture is to accept that we need to improve. Every nation has to improve. It's not just India alone. And we will, this is the plan for us to improve. That's what I would say.
I'm a student of engineering in UBC.
Yeah.
I'm in my 20s. And most of the people in their 20s are lost on what they should be doing. So what should be the duty of people in their 20s to develop India?
First of all, you have to be highly disciplined. If your teacher asks you to do homework, please don't go to that class without doing homework. Second, if your teachers say that I have put in 1 hour in the class and that 1 hour has cost me 3 hours, therefore I want you to spend 3 hours at home, you should spend. Third, while driving, don't drive from the wrong, overtake from the wrong side, don't throw litter on the road, etc. In other words, be disciplined. Second, you have to learn to overcome your apathy. Apathy is the result of, we see a lot of bad things around us and we behave as if it doesn't belong to us. That unless we own this society, unless we say that this is my city, this is my building, I am going to keep it open, I don't think we'll change that. Third, I think we all have to work hard. I feel very sad that people are saying we'll come to the office for 2 days a week, 3 days a week. Even though COVID has all gone, now people have started negotiating. We'll come 3 days a week. What nonsense is this? So I think if you people really want to make India a great nation, as Lee Kuan Yew told me, there is nothing better than being disciplined, doing hard work, having high aspirations, being honest, working productively in a team, etc., etc. I think those are all very simple.
The department of sociology department, and I wanted to connect it to the other comments you were making a little bit before about how our education has to teach more through applications. And I think in a country like India, which is in some sense many countries within it, for each, for example, when I think of areas which are not urban but rural areas, the strategies that we need to teach complicated mathematics to, for example, to the rural students have to be quite different. And I have seen examples of that where a teacher in Maharashtra, he found that he was trying to teach mathematics to village children. And finally he asked them the question, if you are going to sell, if you go to the shop and sell your grain at such and such rate, then you get how much money you will get. The kids were able to answer that question like this. Before that, he was asking them what happens if you multiply 25 by 6.5, and they were completely gone. So the need of trying to make our education relevant to the region also. I mean, it is much more complex problem, I feel, than what Mr. Feynman actually mentioned. So I would like your opinion on that.
I don't agree with you. Feynman was absolutely right.
No, Feynman was first level of complication. I'm saying our level of complication is further.
Feynman was too big a man. I don't think I will.
No, I think you misunderstand me. I'm not saying he's wrong. I'm saying that his problem of complicated level of complication that he mentioned was perhaps lower. We even have further more deeper problems or deeper challenges.
So what is your question?
No, my question was about that in India, if I want to think of transforming my education policies, we actually would need to tailor solutions depending on different parts of India, and for urban and rural areas, we might actually need different strategies. This is what I wanted to ask.
I don't know. I'm not an educationist, so therefore, it would be wrong of me to say what should be taught in rural India, what should be taught in urban India. That's not the thing. However, I know one thing, education is learning to learn. And that learning to learn has to be developed in rural India, it has to be developed in urban India, everywhere. It has to be developed among the weaker sections of the society, it has to be developed among the more powerful sections of the society. Every one of us has to. What we need and what we do not need, that only educationists can comment. So I don't want to comment on that.
He has incubated 7 startups and his technologies have impacted millions of people. He's a recipient of the Padma Shri, Shanti Swarup Bhatnagar Prize, Nikkei Asia Prize, Win Future Prize, and also now currently recently the prestigious Annie Award. Professor Pradeep is a distinguished alumnus of IISc.
Milestones, how has India changed since the time you started to where it is today in terms of science and technology?
Well, so many things to talk about. First of all, I'm so humbled. We are talking about empowering India before a person who has empowered many people in India. Thank you, sir, first of all, let me say that. Why I say this is because there is sort of some connection to this thing that you asked. 2020, when I was in my village, and I was talking to 2 young girls. They were the breadwinners of their families.
The mic's not working.
They were the breadwinners of their families. And during COVID, they were working from home. And that entire village, I saw 1 or 2 women, men as well, working from home. And that village had no issues that, well, COVID did not impact their kitchen. And not only their kitchens, all the kitchens nearby. This is empowering India. And that was because of IT. Thank you. I did not see what was science and technology. I saw pioneering practitioners of science at Indian Institute of Science. So one day I was approaching the main administrative building at the ASC. So that was the time I saw towering people of Indian science. Now, I worked with some of them. Science was something, it can transform you. I experienced that transformation within. But coming to Indian Institute of Technology, cutting that long story short, there was absolutely no science worth mentioning in the laboratories of chemistry and physics that I saw. My first grant was 42,000 rupees. 1993, December 1st, I joined. There was no history of individuals owning a laboratory. When I asked the head of the department, where is my lab? Where can I build something? The head of the department told me, well, there is that corner, you have that desk over which you can do some experiments. Today, laboratories have transformed. My grants have become several crores. Personally, science has undergone a tremendous transformation. But science as a whole for the country did not. It is now what 0.65% of the GDP, as Umesh was talking about. But it was no way, it was substantially better at that time. 0.8, 0.7 something of GDP. Now it has come down. Individuals have flourished. Some of us have been fortunate to do science at the cutting edge. And our students do, our institutions do. But you look at, when I came in here to IIT Madras, there were about less than 100 institutions doing research in India. Today we have 930 institutions doing research. But a large number of them don't do anything of quality. Why is it? So if you want to ask me, reflect upon that, there's a lot to talk about from my personal saga. And you talked about connecting to people. We can connect to people. We are doing something of very, very interesting things, translating science and research parks and a whole lot of things. But really speaking, is science being felt by people? I would not be in the affirmative, answering that. For want of time, let me stop here.
Right.